first piece was done in 1941. Being quite a while ago, what do you see from that piece that's relevant to today, and what kind of attracted you to that?
I see all of them fairly universally. I saw that autophagy as the struggle within communication between a mother and a child, and how they struggle to understand each other. And with that time period being the struggle to adapt to new cultures and modern society. And I see that now as well when people are coming into the country, or we bring in new religions. The transition to getting used to those and accepting everyone, I kind of saw that as a current issue as well, whether that be with homosexuality, or as in this case it was with Catholicism, and transition into a more risque, loose, not as structured society.
Which I agree, I think we struggle with today too, Jenna. I think that it's very relevant for that. Yes?
Jenna, how did you make your decision about the set? I thought it was really compelling that you just had two chairs. But I'm interested in your process of how you...
With autophagy, it has a lot more a set. It's a porch in New Orleans, and it normally have the rocking chair, flowers everywhere, steps, and then the house behind it. I chose to just do the rocking chair and do a kind of minimalistic set in both, because I wanted the focus to be on the message and on the words, and I didn't want tons of color, as you see in both of them with their costumes, to distract you from that, and more of sound value instead of just the visual appeal. And for the second one, I chose to do the stools. It's originally minimalistic. It has 2 lecterns, but I didn't want to do that because I felt like it was slightly disconnecting. So I chose 2 stools to keep them in a general, overall same space, but as you're passing to the next life. But because it is kind of an empty world, we don't know what it is. I mean, we don't know what heaven or the afterlife or anything looks like. And so I wanted it very plain and yet again on the words. Because that was my focus, was the message they had.
It worked well.
I like that decision that you made to not have the lecterns, and I like your rationale, because of not wanting that separation between the audience, that they pulled them away from the work. Okay, Brittany?
Jenna, because you used such little, because you wanted to get the message across, do you feel that pieces of theater, yes, pieces of theater, the pieces of theater then have definitely get the message across clearer, rather than pieces today that do incorporate more extravagant things in the background?
I think a lot of pieces that still have those extravagant, they can have that message, but I feel like pieces where you are focused completely on the words, it's deeper and there's a stronger connection, you understand more, because there is no distraction. You have the words and you're able to just process them as they are. And I don't see, I do a lot of minimalistic things in class with sets and things, because I do like the message, and as in political theater, there is a message, and that's the sole purpose of it for me. So I saw it still as the message, and that it didn't need
So do you feel that when a play does have a complete set and other things to look at, is that distracting for an audience?
It depends on the type of theater, I feel like. Plays, I feel like they're slightly more distracting, but there still can be a message. I just feel like ones without, it's usually deeper.
Okay, Davey, you had your hand up?
Was there a reason you cast the same actors in both pieces?
Actually, yes. I wanted the mother and the son to be a generalized, this is a mother. It's not, like in the second one, it's not just the poet Hart Crane as the son, which is who it was based off of, as well as Tennessee Williams' life. I wanted it to be any son, anywhere, because it's not just one person that faces these problems. A lot of mothers, a lot of fathers, they all face this problem in life. And I wanted it to be, this is the embodiment of a mother, this is the embodiment of a son, not just the specific character.
Anybody else with questions? Yes.
Olivia, what was your process like in getting at your characters who are so much older than you are? I mean, that took a lot of
Thank you. Well, for the first one, I thought of my grandmother and the way that she would act towards me, and she's very, conservative and set back, and she's very, Olivia, what are you saying, such loose behavior. So I thought of her, and the second one, I thought of any mother, like my own mother, and dealing with a lost son, and then dealing with the pain that comes after that, and then as they are dying, trying to figure out, what was happening. So I guess just thinking of my own family and their experiences, or how they act towards me, was my inspiration for me.
Jenna, I have a question. Part of a director's job is to interpret the work of the playwright and to be true to the playwright's message and what the playwright's intent for the piece was. In the first piece, in Auto da Fe, how did you feel about going completely against Tennessee Williams' concept as far as set and setting? Because one of the things about Tennessee Williams is he is so distinctive because of his southern settings, because of kind of the extravagance of the South, and especially New Orleans. That extravagance and that it's almost cloying qualities and oppressiveness is part of Tennessee Williams' message within his work. And I think Elwha embodies that and speaks to that. So why did you decide to go against Tennessee Williams, and do you think you have stayed true to his intent within the work and the characters?
I believe I stayed true to the overall intent. I did not take the Southern because, like I said, I didn't want to pinpoint it to just one place for the situation, since it could happen anywhere. And I wanted to stay true to the focus of kind of the unraveling of new cultures coming in and the adaptation to that, as well as acceptance, which I thought was a big thing in both of them. I didn't choose to do Southern because I don't feel like that's extremely true to the actual time now, and I wanted to be kind of more modernized situations. I didn't want to be like, oh, this is in the past, that's never going to happen anymore. And so I wanted to stick to today. And Tennessee Williams is American, but I didn't want to make it extremely American style, if that makes sense. Like I didn't want, I don't know how to explain this. I didn't want it to be pinpointed just Southern America and have it be an American problem. If that makes sense.
Pigeonholed or stereotyped.
Yes.
Anybody else? Ms. Burns?
Okay, these plays happen at two different parts of the playwright's career. So one at the beginning, obviously, one at the end.
Yeah.
What kind of differences do you see between the two? In his writing style, or in kind of where he's going with it, his message?
I feel like at the beginning, it was more structured to the Southern Gothic like style, but at the end, it's really more reflective on his own life and the struggles he's had. Because at the beginning, he had some of those struggles, but he didn't really have that emotion, those relationships with people like Hart Crane, to really have that background. And I feel like towards the end, when he knew he had lived a long life and he had all this added wisdom, he became more poetic, I guess, which part of that was because of Hart Crane was a poet, so he took that side. But I feel like he was more emotional by the end of his career because of especially the experience he's had with not being accepted as a homosexual, and how he just has so much more emotion, and he's had so many experiences, so many different places with so many different things, as comes with wisdom.
Do you think Williams was letting his own voice be heard through Crane's?
Yes, because he had a similar situation to Hart Crane with his family not accepting it at first, and that was just after Hart Crane had passed away, and so he wanted to pay homage to him, but still vent his own problems, because for him it wasn't just Hart Crane's situation. So there were certain aspects of it I feel like probably were more like Tennessee Williams than Hart Crane, with different situations, whether that's specific things his mother said, or exactly like when they talk about California. I don't know if Hart Crane was in California. That could have been something that was more Tennessee Williams, like the facts could have been adapted to fit both situations.
So what kind of research did you do, Jenna, to prepare for this?
I first looked through all the Tennessee Williams plays because I knew I really wanted to do Tennessee Williams because I wanted the challenge. And I looked through them all, and I found similarities between these two as it was a mother and a child. I was like, oh, I can cast this. I really like the messages. And so I went into depth on what kind of sets they've had before and where it's been performed. And when I did my research, I saw all the different sets and costumes that they'd had, and I wasn't feeling it. And so I decided to take more of the view of the second, which I had researched, and steps must be gentle because it was so late in his life and because it's not one of the bigger ones. It hasn't been performed much, so I didn't find much research on that. So I kind of had to interpret that myself. I knew it had been performed on lecterns, and then it was performed at the Tennessee Williams Festival once. But when I did more research on Auto da Fe, I was looking at the performances and the responses those actors had, especially the mother, and her view of the character and how she took it and how she portrayed it, as well as the man that played Elwaz's view on it. And I kind of talked to them, I sent it to Nate, to have them say, here is what your character is feeling, and this is the connection you should have with them. Read through it, see how you feel. Because I had to do research as well on what kind of things, if I didn't want to do lectern, what did I want to do? Did I want to do chairs? Did I want to have them standing? Did I want stools? And I wanted them to be higher up in kind of like, this is the clouds, this is the white area, this is the blank world in between. And so I had them higher up because I felt like I didn't want things behind them and anything like in their way, but they're still sitting, because standing I feel like they'd rock a lot and they didn't want that. And I chose to have them not facing each other because of that distance and that the distance in the reconciliation. And then I chose for her to look at him at the end, to have it, I have accepted, I am moving on to the afterlife, I am with you now. We do love each other, whether we argued in life or not, and have them come together and her fade into his world, instead of just that in between. That's why I had them not do that, so that was just kind of a personal exploration, wasn't exactly research. But I did do research for costumes. I was like, well, I want them to be true to the age and to the character itself, but not the Southern lady. Because I felt like, especially considering Olivia, I was like, Southern white lady? Like, that's how it's portrayed in his original, I feel like.
Sure, yeah.
And so, I didn't want that. I wanted it to have the neutral. So I did kind of research on different things that would look old, but still fit that character. Like, felt conservatives. The boy would be sweaters or collared shirts or polos, very, not exactly Catholic school kind of thing.
How
But
old is he?
he is 35. He lives with his mother still.
Yes.
He's mama's boy.
Okay, yes. Well, that was Tennessee Williams. I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
Absolutely.
That was also exciting.
Are there other questions that? Yes, Susie.
Why did you choose to put one first? Well, how did you choose to put which one word?
The
Does that
order.
make sense? The order. The order.
Of the two plays, which was the first. I felt like I wanted the chaos first, to kind of build up, and then have this, I guess, depressing, emotional ending, because death is the last thing in life, and I wanted it to be, here's the chaos, but here's a situation where they come together. So it's kind of a reconciliation of both stories together in a way, of accepting, because in the first one with the fire, son did die, in theory. They don't tell us, obviously. That was my interpretation. And so that could be continuation in a way.
Okay, well, Jenna, I'm very proud of you that taking on this kind of work and making these strong choices.